What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, the big thing this week, over the weekend, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is bullshit. It's a big fucking lie. It's a con by the Dems. The Democrats know this, and they literally are fucking the American people. They had a 50-50 split on the bill, on voting it, until, fucking retarded Harris said, oh, well, I'll just vote on it and make it 51 and we'll pass it. They've been trying to shove this thing down our throat for a little while now. Inside of it, they hid the fact that they're giving money to fucking, seriously, climate change, whatever. Fucking dumbass, retarded shit. They knew better than to call it climate change, because none of them would have voted on it. So they snuck that in there. Then they also give like $80 billion to the fucking IRS so they can fucking hire a bunch of other more morons to come after the American people and tax the fucking piss out of them. So the Democrats can get more money. That's literally what it is. So the Democrats can fucking line their pockets. Because not one of them motherfucking politicians is going to be audited by the IRS. And they are not going to go after the big corporations. They're going to come after, middle class and low income American citizens. And they're going to squeeze you for all your money. So they can get richer, the Democrats can get richer, while you get poor. The American people literally told them hundreds of times, they don't want this fucking bill. But the Democrats put it on themselves to go ahead and push it anyway. Because it makes them richer. And you poor. And they know it. They're fucking you hard, and you're letting them. Hopefully in November fucking all that shit changes. We'll see. But for now, American people are fucked. The IRS has more money and more shit for them to be in power than anybody else, including the FBI and fucking like CDC, fucking NSA. They've got more money than anybody else to come fuck the American people. They're not going to go after these big corporations and shit. Too much money, too much time, too much effort. They're going to come after the American people because they know they ain't got fucking the money to fight them in the courts. They know this. So that's why they're doing it. Anyways, that was the big news I saw, which was a bunch of bullshit. Let's talk about something else. So, obviously, the Orville just got done with season 3. I hope they get a season 4. It's a pretty good show. It beats a lot of other shows out there that just keeps putting woke ass shit in their television, which nobody wants, and I think the Orville writers have begun listening to that. Now, my thoughts about this season is it's not as comical as the first or second season. There were a lot more comedy in the first two seasons. This one was a little bit more serious, which I think they need to lean back on. They need to go back to the comedy and, lay low on the seriousness crap. That's why people like the first two seasons. This third season, I liked it, but it's not nearly as good as the first two. I had two main problems in the show. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect ass show. It's still a really great show. There are a couple things that really got on my nerves. The first one was the whole leaning a little towards the feminism crap. They did a lot of stuff that kind of edges on feminism a little too much. And we don't need more feminism, we need less. Because that's what's hurting the world today, is the evil cult known as feminism. But that was a little, they were pushing on it a little much, I think. They need to lean back on that too. Back off of that. The other thing that kind of bothered me was, like I said earlier, the whole comedy thing. They left out much of the comedy, and that, I don't know. I thought that's what made the show to begin with, was the whole comedy thing. Now, I like the fact that they were basically, when it came to the political stuff, because they did throw some political stuff in there, they kind of took a look at both sides, but overall, it was more conservative, the way the shows were ending. Like, they were saying abortion was bad, shouldn't kill your kids. The fact that, government and left-wing ideology, that they can brainwash society, and it takes an individual to think for themselves and realize that all the propaganda that their government is pushing on them. The whole thing with the doctor saying, you should accept yourself for who you are and how you were born. And others, if they truly care about you, they should accept you as well as how you were born and how you are. Because they had the whole thing with the Topa episode where, she knew she was born female, but her parents wanted to, not necessarily her parents, but more the society. They wanted to fit in with society, and their society, the Mocklins, the vast majority of their planet and their government is all about the male species. So they basically transgendered her and made her male, and she knew she was female. So they changed her back. That whole thing was kind of a mess, but it was basically saying, people who are transgendering, they have a mental problem, and it's not being addressed. That's why the suicide rate, because they realize they shouldn't have done it, and the suicide rate for transgenders is extremely high because of this. It's a mental condition. It's gender dysphoria. And it shouldn't be messed with. And people shouldn't encourage them, and make it like it's okay for them to use pronouns, and, that it's okay for them to change their sex, and freaking that now that there's something that they're not really not. Science proves that, biology, but there's people that'll, give in to their fantasies and delusions and then tell them it's okay, we'll let you live in your fantasy world or whatever. And you can't do that. I'm not making fun of it. I'm being serious. It's not right. And people shouldn't do that to, people who are thinking about doing that to themselves. It's not cool at all. And you sure the fuck shouldn't be telling some kid that's like 6 or 7, even younger, 6 or 7 or whatever, you should not be, as a parent, you should not be going, oh, so you want to be this and you want to be a dinosaur now. Okay, let's go get some surgery done and make you a dinosaur. No, that's not okay. That's child abuse. Plain and simple. But, like I said, the show was leaning more towards conservatism. Which, I'm not into politics. I hate politics. Since Obama came into office, I've stated it before. Now I'm seeing politics and all our shit. It's usually left-wing ideology. And I'm more in the center, I'm a little liberal, a little conservative. But to do all that shit constantly in our entertainment, it gets fucking old. But Orville season 3, 2 thumbs up. Check it out. Great show. I hope they have a season 4. Better than that fake ass track by JJ and Kurtzman. The fucking woke ass clone version. That literally, they were trying to rewrite the whole Star Trek universe. All them fucking woke Star Trek shows. Just fucking retarded. Anyways, moving on. Next, I just got done watching an old show from 85 to 86. It only ran for 1 season, and it was called Shadow Chasers. It was okay. It wasn't horrible. The acting was but it wasn't a terrible show, but it wasn't really that great. I don't think people were ready for that kind of show. It kind of leaned more towards almost kind of like an X-Files type thing, but not quite. They weren't agents, FBI agents. You had 2 guys who would take a look into the paranormal and investigate it. Most generally, they found some logical explanation for it. Instead of it being supernatural, almost every episode. There was a woman at a university. She was like the head administrator of this department or some crap. And she wanted this particular professor that worked for the university to go and check these paranormal reports. Now, there's another guy that he runs into who's a reporter for like tabloids like the Inquirer and shit. And they team up and they start checking out all these paranormal reports that are being sent into the university. Now, the professor, he really doesn't want to do it, but he's usually forced by this woman who runs the place. Like she'll tell him, you want funding for your project? Well, you better do this, blah, 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 and go check. So it's kind of, kind of like blackmail, honestly, making him do it. But anyways, the professor was okay. I didn't mind him. He was actually kind of funny. But the guy who was the reporter, I absolutely could not stand him. He was annoying, super annoying. He was, he's supposed to be annoying. He's supposed to be that annoying, funny sidekick, and he just wasn't. He was just annoying. But anyways, it's an okay show. Something for at least worth a one-time watch. Check it out. It's called Shadow Chasers. It was done in 85 and 86. One season. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. It's alright. Not bad. Alright, let's move on to your B-movie reviews. Alright, movie holics. This week is Comedy Week.
Big Louis on somebody. Fresh in the game, putting it down. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you want the south side, represent, throw it up. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you want the north side, represent, throw it up. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you on the west side, represent, throw it up. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you on the east side, represent, throw it up.
And we're going to talk about a couple of Cheech and Chong movies that I just recently watched. The first one was done in 1978, and it made about $44 million worldwide at the box office, and it's called Up in Smoke. Now, I half-assed remember watching this back in the 80s when I was really young. I remember bits and pieces of it, especially the car scene near the beginning. What's kind of funny is if you go through the credits, Tommy Chong's character is called The Man. However, at the beginning of the movie, his father calls him Anthony. So, I don't know why they did that, but whatever. And that's how you start off the movie. His dad's like yelling at him. He comes from what looks like a fairly decent or well-off family, wealthy. He decides he's going to fucking move out of the house because he's a bum. You know, a hippie bum who don't want to work, just wants to sit around and smoke weed all day. But he also plays the drums. He thinks he's great at it. So, he leaves the house. His car breaks down, and then Cheech comes along and picks him up. Now, Cheech, of course, he actually thought he was a girl because Chong was, like a hitchhiker. He was pretending to be a hitchhiker, and he put his shirt up and put these crap in his shirt, make it look like he had boobs or something. That's all Cheech really saw in his rearview mirror when he stopped to pick him up. He didn't realize it. But anyway, he said, I'll give you a ride anyway. Now, you don't ever actually see him put all his stuff in Cheech's car. It just kind of sees him go back to the car once or twice. And then next thing you know, the back of Cheech's car is just full of drums and crap. Then you have the famous Labrador scene where he's smoking a joint that has Labrador dog shit in it, so it makes it look like 3 times his size. Throughout the movie, there's a group of cops that are trying to bust I guess a weed cartel or some shit, and they're going to try to catch him in the act from coming across the border. Cheech and Chong get sent across the border and Cheech calls like an uncle or some shit like that, who says he's got a van down there that he needs delivered to America. So Cheech and Chong, they grab this van, not realizing it's actually, the whole van is basically made out of marijuana for the most part. But they take the van across the board. They pick up these two chicks, and these two chicks tell them about the battle of the bands, that there's a battle of the bands happening. And they decide, well, we're going to sign up for the battle of bands, and we can win this shit, because they have their own little band going on. Now, the van, they park the van right outside of the studio or the building, that club or whatever, and it catches on fire, and it goes into the building, gets the policeman higher in a kite. They forget all about him, and then, you know, everyone inside the building, you know, they're so high that when they come on stage and their band plays a song, everybody's all like, yeah, that's amazing, great, blah, blah, blah. You're it. You win. You're the #1 band, you know, because they're all higher than a kite. So they're just, you know, supposedly happy-go-lucky. Anyways, that's pretty much the gist of the movie. And the end of it, everyone lives happily ever after, blah, blah, blah. There are quite a few funny scenes in it. It is a pretty funny movie. I like the music for the most part through the movie, but the music that the bands were playing at the Battle of the Bands towards the end was just god awful. None of that music at the Battle of the Bands was any good. It all sucked. Even the music that, you know, Cheech and Chong's band was playing, it was terrible. But, you know, the music throughout the movie was good. It's just the Battle of the Bands. They all sucked. I give this movie 2 thumbs up. It was really funny. I had a lot of funny parts in it. Yeah, you know, you don't see that much anymore in most comedies today, because you gotta be careful what you say anymore. You know, you're gonna get canceled for making a joke. So, anyways, let's move on to your next Cheech Chong movie. The next Cheech Chong movie I watched was called Still Smokin', and it was done in 1993, or sorry, it was done in 1983 and made about 15 million worldwide. So it didn't do all that well. It did okay. And I know the reason why. The first part of the movie, you know, is actually really good. They have some funny stuff at the beginning of the movie. Until about, I'd say, 20 minutes into the movie. When they got to go to the film festival conference, when they're talking, and then all of a sudden you see Chong kind of close his eyes, and it goes into this like little skit that they have, that Cheech and Chong do. They started doing that constantly through the whole movie, these little skits, them envisioning these little skits. And the reason why is because the whole movie's based on the fact that I think they're in Amsterdam, and the Amsterdam people think that they are Burt and Reynolds and Dolly Parton for some. They don't, you know, they look nothing like them, but apparently these people are so dumb they think that they're Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. And that's what they're going based off of throughout the entire movie. But they tell the guy they're not Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. But some guy they supposedly met at a party at one point in time told them to come over, and he'd pay everything for them for this film festival thing. But the thing is, the only celebrities you supposedly see at this film festival is Cheech and Chong. Nobody else. No other actors or actresses. Just Cheech and Chong. So, they tell the guy that's working for the rich dude who put them up, they tell him, hey, we'll do a show for you since Bert and Dolly's not going to show up, and we'll do a show for you. Which they do towards the end of the movie. Now, throughout the movie, they're doing these little skits throughout the movie instead of actually filming a movie. And towards the end, it's them on stage doing a few more skits. And honestly, I didn't care for any of the skits. I really didn't think most of them were funny. I thought they sucked. You might have one that had a decent joke in it or something. But for the most part, most of the skits sucked. There was just a couple of them that I thought was funny. And like I said, at the very beginning of the movie, it was actually pretty funny at the beginning of the movie, where they were actually doing a movie, not these little skits. These little skits that ruined the movie. In my opinion, the skits ruined the movie. They should have just gone with the movie and left out the little skits. Anyways, that's the way the movie went and ended. So, it was okay for a one-time watch, but it really wasn't that funny, after about 20 minutes. So I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Alright, that's all. I'll probably do 2 more Cheech and Chong movies next comedy week, just to kind of knock them out of the way, get them out of the way. They only had a couple more that were actually supposedly fairly decent, even though I know they did several movies. But I'll watch the next 2 that I know that were supposed to be fairly funny. And as I always say, if you have any thoughts about what I said earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you can think of or know of any movies I may never have heard of or have seen, or underrated films, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below, and I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So, until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.